This crispy chicken is from a taco place.
This crispy chicken is from a taco place?
The taco place?
Taco place. It comes in a burrito, too?
From your taco place, it's also a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Bronco fans, the new Boise State trading cards are here, and you can only get them at Jackson's.
Start collecting them today.
Jackson's, let's go!
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN Live is presented by our title sponsor, RoadPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our major sponsors, Jackson's, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, Lithia Ford of Boise, and the Blue and Orange store. For more coverage of Boise State athletics, check out the all-new BroncoNationNews.com, now part of the 247 Sports family. Now, here's five-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
How we doing, Bronco Nation? Yes, it is a Wednesdays with Winston edition of Bronco Nation News Live. We've got NFL PA agent Winston Venable with us, VSG Pro, former Broncos, what you probably mostly care about if you're watching this show, player and coach, brings us tremendous insight every Wednesday here on Bronco Nation News. And there was no day more than today that I knew Winston would show up because he got paid before the show.
Hey, finally, man, I tried to get on that BNN payroll, man. Been left out to dry. Got booted by Mike Prater one episode. I mean, it's been a tough comeback.
I paid you for it.
Old Winston and the BNN crew. No, just messing with you, BJ. Like always, man, appreciate seeing you on the Wednesdays. Appreciate the opportunity to reconnect with Bronco Nation and be involved in what you got going on, man. You're doing a lot of big things on your side, and I'm grateful to be a part of it, man.
I'm not gonna lie. Today was we had a record amount of. I'm not gonna give the amount, but let's just say I was putting the Venmos out today, and it's keeps getting larger and larger by the day, man. We had 11 people, I think, on the BNN payroll now when you're talking about everybody else involved in all these shows. So if you're interested in subscribing, 50% off right now this week at BroncoNationNews.com. We'd love to have you jump on board ahead of the Notre Dame game, all the recruiting coverage that Chris has been providing with some commits this week. But yeah, this was the first month where I was kind of like going through the list, and I was like, damn, 11 people I'm paying for this crap. So yeah, we're building. We're building the team. The team continues to grow. We've got interns we're paying now, and everybody else, and shows on Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights, and different hosts every morning. And no, we did not miss the payroll. We pay the first of the month every month. But for some reason, Winston, I guess on September 1st, I did forget to pay you because you had just restarted with us and you weren't on from the previous month. But that's the kind of guy Winston is. He didn't say a word about it. And I was going through my accounting early this morning. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think I ever paid Winston for August either. But you're paid. Everybody's paid. The only guy I worry about actually not coming on if he doesn't get paid is Johnny. Johnny's the kind of guy, Johnny Ball Games, like, if I don't get paid, I ain't doing the show. Hey, all man, you other guys are nice and cool and don't say anything. And then if I forget that day or that morning or whatever, but Johnny don't get paid, he ain't coming on. And I don't think that's
Johnny's about that. Johnny's about that business, BJ. You know, he's not letting that slip. But back to you real quick, man. Just obviously at one point you probably didn't have anybody on the payroll. You're just trying to pay yourself. So good stuff, man. That's pretty cool that you've gotten that far and that you have to deal with those good problems and cutting some checks, man. So congratulations on where you've been at and where you're getting to, man.
Appreciate you, man. Like I said, 50% off this week. The higher ups at 247 Sports are giving us a great deal for the Notre Dame game this week. So any of Prater's coverage, Nathan Carroll's analysis, any of our recruiting coverage, like I said, if you're ever thinking about jumping on board, now is the time. 50% off for a VIP membership. That's $5 a month right now at BroncoNationNews.com. So jump on board, help us out, and we'd love to have you. BroncoNationNews.com. We have a real show planned today, Winston. We actually have guests. We actually have things to discuss. We discussed it, pre-show. We're not just showing up here, turning on the stream. I mean, I know folks, this may surprise people. We usually have, Winston, our 6 a.m., meeting to plan out the show most weeks. But no, we actually have two guests, Mike Golic Jr. I was looking it up. He actually played at Notre Dame about the same time you were at Boise State. I know you didn't play Notre Dame, but I don't know if there's any common opponents or anything, but he was playing at Notre Dame when you were at Boise State. And then I think he had a cup of coffee smaller than yours, I think, at the next level. But obviously his dad went to Notre Dame, Mike Golic Sr. They do a show together now, Golic and Golic on the FanDuel network. And he does some announcing for the TNT games, I believe, every Saturday. So he's dived into the college football world and knows a lot. But as a former Notre Dame player, I think it's going to be fun to chat with Mike Golic Jr. about this game coming up on Saturday. And then John Canzano, he's a prominent radio host over in the Portland area, and he's been kind of the leading reporter. He has some pretty good sources inside the Pac-12 office and has been the leading guy on the realignment and the Pac-12 and all this kind of stuff. And they had a lawsuit going on, or they have a lawsuit going on. Last night, their motion was dismissed by the Mountain West to try to throw out the lawsuits. And so we'll talk to John, who
reported some stuff last night that basically, Winston, if you know how long trials take and things like this to push back. I mean, July 1st or 31st, whatever it is, 2026, there's supposed to be teams joining the Pac-12 and new teams joining the Mountain West. And this trial is not scheduled till after that date. So, I mean, I think there's some, all this moving around in the conference is in jeopardy a little bit here because UNLV and some of these teams that were promised a lot of money from the Mountain West may not have that money in time to pay them. And there's a lot of other legal things that could come from this, but it was certainly a win. I think it was expected, but it was a win last night for the Pac-12. And I think that's going to make this things start to get interesting now.
Yeah, you said it, man. I mean, looking forward to the show today for sure. Get those guests on there. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge that we can tap into and learn more and dive into the weeds on some of this. So it'll be really fun to get Mike on. I know he's got a great personality doing his thing and comes from a great family there. And obviously the Notre Dame ties, which is big time. And got a couple small little connections I want to ask him about, along his journey and where he grew up and some things. But Yeah, as far as the Pac-12 stuff, Mountain West stuff, man, it's just crazy. There's so much that goes on in college football these days, whether positive or negative. I mean, this stuff to me, it's just like another one of those messes, along with the structure or lack thereof structure of NIL and all that. And it's just, man, I know that guys like Jeremiah Dickey, this is the stuff that they have to deal with. Glad it's not me. And, you know, really it's the fight continues, you know, with that motion that got dismissed, where, you know, they'll go back on the board and they'll make their arguments. And like you said, it might just drag out a little bit. And I get concerned with, you know, the timeline of those things. And then obviously there's a boatload of money that's involved. And I think that's like the big picture here is, you know, a school like specifically like Boise State, we just, you know, you're talking about $25-30 million at stake with some of this stuff. And you just can't be in a position to take that on. You know, you don't want any of that to come up, because that can be devastating to a program. And that's a big cut of money that you're hoping just washes away. So I know Jeremiah, you know, he's cut out for it and he does an excellent job, but man, that's not something that I want to be involved in. That's for sure. Kind of scary. And the timing is just, and it's unfortunate that they're trying to make this transition smoothly, and it does not seem like it's smooth right now.
No, I mean, I think everyone's, and we'll talk to John about this. He's going to come on at 9:50, but I believe that, you know, the most likely thing now is some sort of settlement, you know, because the Mountain West wants all this money. They want the $55 million for the poaching fees. They also want the money per school, you know, in terms of the exit fees. So they want the conference to pay them, and they want each team to pay them as well. And the Mountain West or the Pac-12 is kind of like, say, we're not doing that. They'll have to settle somewhere in the middle, but obviously it's going to be way less than what the Mountain West expected or was hoping to get. And again, they lured UNLV to stay by promising them like $25 million or something. And so if we'll have to see where that money comes from and if they can pay that and you know, if they're able to, you know, what changes here. So looking forward to catching up with John here in about a half an hour and getting his take on this, because he's been the number one guy and has some great sources on all this. And we'll see kind of what this means moving forward here. Surf City Bill says, great Riley and Ridge show last night with Max Cutforth and Ben Ford. Yeah, great show. 2 local products, Idaho kids getting a chance to get out there and play. We did it in a new area of the James, and I thought the background was great. I thought the lighting was great, and they had some great stories, and it was a good show. If you missed Riley and Rid, you can go back on our YouTube channel and watch that. It was a great episode with Max Cutforth, Ben Ford. So appreciate Jackson's for helping them out. We have a little NIL deal where Jackson's pays the guys that come on the show and with some gift gas cards at Jackson's, and it works out pretty well. And excited to keep that show going. But, yeah, it was a fun show last night. Go back and watch it if you missed it. Tonight will be Ball Talk, Sanford and Johnny. And I'm in a good mood today, Winston. I think I'm going to make this a free show for everybody tonight. It's a big week. Notre Dame, typically it goes behind the payroll, and we do want to get folks to please sign up. And as I said, 50% off this week, $5 a month. Maybe that'll be because I'm being nice today, maybe that'll make some folks sign up. But typically to watch Johnny and Sanford, you got to pay. You got to be a subscriber. But with Notre Dame game coming up on Saturday, I just shelled out a ton of money this morning. Why not shell out some more? Let's make this a free show. Free show tonight, and we're looking forward to 8 o'clock, Sanford and Johnny on Ball Talk.
There we go, man. Don't think about it. Just do it, BJ. Make it a free one. Get the Bronco Nation involved, and that'll be awesome to have those guys on and talking a little ball tonight.
Notre Dame, what was the biggest you were on the Virginia Tech game, right?
Yep, Virginia Tech.
Was that your big? I mean, that was one of the biggest crowds Boise State's ever played in. I was looking at the numbers. I believe this will be the 4th highest crowd. So you played in the second one. That was 86,587 at FedEx Field for that one. The Georgia game, what was it, 04, 05, I think, at Georgia. Sanford Stadium was 92,000. And then the game at South Carolina in 2001, Williams-Brice Stadium was 83,000. This one on Saturday is going to be the 4th largest crowd Boise State football's ever played against. What do you make about Notre Dame and the atmosphere and just how cool this game is for fans, for the players, for the program to get to go play this?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up, when I started, having those dreams about playing football, it was always about playing in big, big stadiums, right? I mean, it wasn't necessarily that NFL dream. It was, I want to go play in front of thousands and thousands of fans. So having the opportunity to play in a Fiesta Bowl. And I've said it before, not necessarily on this show, but I think when, you run out of that tunnel in a Fiesta Bowl and there's 70,000, plus like that, or close to 80, it's kind of like you fulfill the dream. You've checked that off and you really take it in and embrace that moment. But pretty quickly, you're focused on the task at hand. So great opportunity, super fun. I think that's what college ball is all about. And then at the same time, not downplaying those big atmospheres, but you also realize how special Bronco Nation and Albertson Stadium is when you're playing in front of 30,000, 35,000, and it's equally as loud or even louder than when you go to a place that's 60 or 70 or 80,000. And I think that's pretty special too, to have that experience at home. It makes you even appreciate home even more because it is all about playing in front of thousands of fans, but they got to be passionate, diehard fans like Bronco Nation has. So great opportunity for these guys. I know that they'll be absorbing the moment, and I really hope that they absorb it quickly and then get out there and go ready to, let's go shut up 80,000 fans, if you will, and go get the job done.
3 wins in a row following that first loss at South Florida. What are you liking right now with what you're seeing from this team?
Yeah, momentum, right? Confidence and momentum. So you got to go into a game like this week with that confidence and momentum, and I think that's exactly what they've done. And I just go back to some of our earlier conversations, and I think even last week, I was a little bit passionate about, telling Bronco Nation, it's early. It's early in the season. These guys are working on their craft. They're fine-tuning their technique. They're getting comfortable with each other. College football, with as much change that goes on with rosters these days, these guys are building chemistry as the season's going. They're figuring things out, and it's never, it's not great to be critical too early in the season. Let the season go. See how the record is at the end of the year. See how these guys grow and learn and adjust and get better. And I think we've seen that over the last couple of weeks. Individual play, team play, they're just getting into their groove. And I'd say they're getting in their groove at the right time, building that confidence going into a big week.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most complete game they've played on all sides of the ball. And you had the offense, putting up 47 points for the 3rd straight game. You've now got a top 20 offense in scoring and in, also in total yards. But the defense, the 4 picks, Winston, or 4 turnovers, 2 pick sixes. I thought that was the best game the defense has played by far.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I know there was a lot of question marks going into that, a lot of buzz, a lot of noise, people questioning the defense, the secondary or whatnot. And, I think a lot of these guys, as much as you don't want to be looking at Twitter and reading news, I think it's, they see that stuff. They see it, and hopefully it drives them and motivates them, and they block it out a little bit, but also go out in there and prove something. And I think they did an excellent job of proving that. I love seeing guys, multiple guys, and whether it's on offense or defense, whether it's the quarterback position or, Bowen Phelps getting out there, and just guys emerging and getting these reps. And I said it earlier in the year, you want to get those reps for some of these young guys in good situations where we're up, smashing a team, and we get guys reps, because those reps are super valuable now, and they're going to be more valuable later. So awesome to see, Amaria McCoy get a pick 6 early, right? Things like that, just really taking the defense off. And like I said, just fast start, right? And I think it was awesome. Guys like Quentin Brown on the offensive side, these young guys, tremendous catch. I thought it was funny. There's a great picture of a former linebacker, Kyle Ging. I'm sure you've seen it. He wore number 44, 2005-06, and he's got this bloody face. And when Quentin Brown got his touchdown, the trainer immediately put the towel up to his face. And I was like, no, take it down, man. It could be another Ging-type photo. And it was pretty cool.
He broke his nose on that touchdown catch, and he's still firing up the crowd as he's walking off.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, because right before he went into the tent, he had that big cheese of a smile with no towel on his face. And that was a pretty cool moment. And I think that kid's going to be a tremendous player in the future. So confidence all the way around, getting reps to young guys early, offense doing their thing, driving down the field, using multiple backs. Latrell Caples had a great game. You just start seeing these guys emerge, and it's been awesome to see. And I think they're peaking at the right time, getting in the, early, mid-season here, I guess, if you will, and they're ready for a big one, and I think that they have the confidence needed going in.
Hey, RoePaint.com is our title sponsor. ROEPaint.com, all your painting needs, whether it's those concrete coatings, interior, exterior paintings, make sure you hit up our title sponsor at RoePaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, they've got 7 NIL deals with student athletes at Boise State. They're on board now as an official sponsor at Boise State as well, so make sure you check them out. ICCU.com. There's a branch on every corner, but the easiest, that mobile e-branch online banking right there in your smartphone. Check them out, Idaho Central Credit Union. And Lithia Ford of Boise, we appreciate them as well. LithiaFordBoise.com. You can check them out. Never a better time with that fall kickoff sale going on to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle at Lithia Ford of Boise. And we appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise for their support of Bronco Nation News. Check out their location there on Fairview Avenue in Boise, or view their full inventory of vehicles online at LithiaFordBoise.com. All right, Winston, we mentioned earlier in the show, Mike Golic Jr., nice enough to pop on and join us here. Mike, appreciate you, man. Your family synonymous with Notre Dame, and I'm sure every time any team ever plays Notre Dame, you get 10 interview requests to come on. But we appreciate you for jumping on for a few minutes here. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Appreciate it. No, always nice to be thought of when the Irish are coming up here. And at least now, after the last couple of weeks, it's with some good things to say. The initial run of the season, as someone that just started doing a Notre Dame podcast for the first time this fall, I was really questioning my timing after all the good stuff we would have had to talk about last year. The way this season opened up certainly didn't inspire a ton of confidence right away, but seems to be rounding into form now.
Well, Mike Golic Jr., you obviously played at Notre Dame. Your dad played at Notre Dame. Long history there. Other family members, I believe, as well played there. And then now you're doing, obviously, your show with your dad. By the way, back in the day when I was just getting into the business, I did a radio show with my dad. So it's pretty cool that you guys are doing the Golic and Golic show on, and it's on FanDuel, I believe, correct?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Hopefully folks check that out. And that's really cool that you guys are doing that. And you've been around on radio and other stuff. And I hated the finish, but you did a great job on the call, the Kansas-Cincinnati game the other day too. That was that's my alma mater there, Kansas. So I was locked in on that one before the Boise game, and that was a rough one. But you're doing TNT games, I believe, every weekend. Yep. So you're close dialed into the college football scene as well. But just tell us about Notre Dame. I mean, here in Boise, this is obviously one of the bigger games in program history. I mean, they've played some big games, but a lot of neutral site games and things going to Notre Dame Stadium. This has been it was actually scheduled only about 18 months ago, kind of a fill-in, but ever since then, I mean, it's, going to be a massive game. I think Boise State sold out of their 5,000 ticket allotment. Others have bought tickets. I mean, this is a game that fans here are super excited about. I guess just in general, before we dive into the team, this matchup, and for folks going to South Bend and everything, just how cool is a Notre Dame game day, and what are Boise State fans in for here?
Yeah, I think first off, you mentioned how quickly it was scheduled. It's a good reminder. We can do that. It doesn't always have to be a decade in advance college football, but no, I always enjoy matchups like this too. Anytime, whether it's, when we were players getting to go to an environment, I remember my fifth year, senior year, we got to go play down in Oklahoma. I had never been to Norman. We obviously didn't play a ton of, then Big 12 teams in Oklahoma. And so that was a unique experience for us, for our fans. And I know the fans in Norman made our fans, my family, feel really welcome down there. And that's always what I appreciate. Like, a lot of fan bases, when they come to South Bend, talk a lot about how welcoming our fan base is around campus, and what an opportunity it is. These are two programs in their own ways, very storied, especially in the recent history of college football. Boise State's been one of the premier, group of 5, now G6 teams in college football for a long time, as they get set to also join the new conference next year. I think for Boise State fans heading to South Bend, I always tell people, keep it simple. Like, play the hits on campus. When I go back, as someone that's grown up wrapped in blue and gold my entire life, go to the Grotto, go to the Basilica, go see Touchdown Jesus. Spend some time, if you get in on Friday or Saturday morning, take the walk around campus, go out back by the lakes, especially now that the calendar's turned to October. Before we get the snow, it is going to be as beautiful as any campus in the country. Extremely biased take, but it's a fun place to go and check out and see. Walk through the tailgate lots. You'll get some good-natured ribbing, but this isn't going to be like the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. Like, the Notre Dame fans aren't going to light you up and kill you. It's a pretty welcoming home crowd there. And it should be a great environment. I think for Notre Dame, 2017 was when they renovated the stadium and put the luxury seats in, put the Jumbotron in, changed a lot of how they did the game day atmosphere. I mean, going back to my freshman and sophomore year there, we didn't even have in-stadium music. It was all the band. The first time we got music playing in the stadium, it was only on third downs, and they would only play Crazy Train. And so for an entire season, all we heard was the din-it, 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 and it drove me mad versus now they've got all the pyrotechnics, they've got the board built in. It's a really fun game day atmosphere that they've created. So I think Boise State fans will have a really good time in South Bend, and hopefully it's an experience that they can all look forward to and enjoy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's a lot of history, obviously those traditions. Get some good shout outs there for what Boise State fans can do. I got a question for you, Mike. Just players talk about that sign, play like a champion today, being more than a sign. Just curious for you, like what did that mean to you? What does it mean to players today, when they touch that? I mean, that's kind of that history and tradition, but what was that like for you, having that sign there, being a big part of the program?
Yeah, I think it is just kind of that reminder that you're a part of something bigger and much older than you. And the Notre Dame game day locker room is something that's changed a lot even since my time. They've renovated a lot of that. They've made it a lot nicer. They've made all the modern things. But Notre Dame does as good a job as any place I'd ever been of always making sure you weave through the history. Like there were certain parts they were never going to touch. And when you turn that corner, no matter what's changed on the outside and the lead-in, that's where you look back and go, all right, this is who I'm playing for. This is who I'm representing. And it sort of locks you in the minute you turn the corner. Because going down that tunnel, there's two signs. There's the play like a champion sign at the bottom, but there's also a sign with a leprechaun on it at the top. And everyone, that was where the game day routine kind of started. Players were all creatures of habit. And so everyone's got their routine, whether it's how they tape up their gloves, everything like that. But the thing that always really locked me in was it was 2 taps on the leprechaun sign and then 2 taps on the play like a champion sign at the bottom. And it's that transition. My dad always said, you got to flip the switch when you're getting ready to go out on the field. And that's where, for me, and I think for a lot of guys, that switch always flipped. It's a very visual cue, but it also is a representation of all the history and tradition at that school.
I'll tell you what, Winston, we never got the matchup, but linebacker Winston Venable in his prime Boise State career trying to get through the line with Mike Golic Jr. on the line. I would have loved to have seen that back in the day.
Yeah, what's funny, BJ, is I was doing some digging earlier, and Mike, I don't know, I got 2 things for you, diverting a little bit from the Notre Dame talk, and obviously that's what we're here for, but West Hartford, Connecticut, right?
Yep.
Okay, so first question for you, my man, is do you know or have you ever heard of Oakdale, Connecticut?
Oakdale. I can't say I have, no.
Yeah, so a lot of people. So I went to a prep school in Oakdale, Connecticut, and people in Oakdale didn't even know where this prep school was at. So I figured you might not know. But, I spent some time in Connecticut growing up. Went to high school out there. And then my other one for you was the Montreal Alouettes, 2014.
Oh, yeah.
So I was up there. Tell me, I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around how long you might have been up there. Our paths had to have crossed, but it might have been for a short amount of time. So I was up there from 2012 to 16. So we had a little bit of time together. I can't recall it all, though, my man.
I was going to say it's probably hard to recall because it was sort of a blip for me. I got up there, I think, midway through training camp, went back, stayed with long enough to get through the end of camp where we were back in the city. And then after that, got cut. They were going to sign me to the practice squad, and then some expansion minor league called the FXFL back in the States opened up, and I ended up going and signing there. So, yeah, it is funny because I go on every once in a while and do interviews with TSN up there, and they have a good bit of goof with it and introduce me as Alouettes legend, knowing full well I was there for not even – I always call it like a whiff of coffee was my NFL experience, and I think I just walked by the coffee station when it came to my CFL experience. So you got to enjoy a lot more of the time up there. But, yes, it was a very brief ships in the night moment.
Oh man, that's awesome though. Little connection there. I'm glad you had that whiff up in the Alouettes land, man. CFL treated me pretty well, so I enjoyed that league and had a lot of fun up there. Mike, when you obviously former O lineman, you're in the broadcasting world and diving into that. Do you find yourself just staring at the trenches? Or are you pretty well versed on checking out all the game, or what?
I think like anyone else, and you can appreciate this, my eyes definitely are trained to start there. And that's as a broadcaster, especially in the booth. it's one of those things where I understand there's not a lot of offensive linemen that are calling games, especially in college. And so I look at it as, hey, this is a unique vantage point where maybe I can provide some, insight that maybe others wouldn't get. But as I've gone along here now and been doing this more and more, try and peel it back every once in a while and give some acknowledgement to the little guys on the outside doing their thing. But I think there's a lot of interesting that tends to happen on the inside of the game. And, we're fortunate in the TNT booth this year. Like, we got the sky cam, we got all that stuff. So we get the fun angles where you get to see the pit and the real football and all the safeties moving around. But I always have my heart in the beef in the middle. There's no doubt.
Nice.
Mike Golic Jr., our guest here on Bronco Nation News. We're talking Boise State and Notre Dame. All right, tell us about this Notre Dame team. Obviously, we're in the championship game last year. Everyone's watching. I think for Boise State fans, they were wanting them to be undefeated, going into this game, ranked number 5. And I know that the demise was built up after 2 close losses. Everyone was ready to jump off the bandwagon there nationally, it seemed like, when they were, whatever their record was, 0-2, 1-2. But they've obviously rebounded, played, much better, scoring, Purdue and Arkansas. Everybody here in Boise knows Talon Green. He was at Boise State before he went to Arkansas, so they were watching that game closely. But just the way they're playing right now, I mean, I'm not even to say they were playing bad before. Like I said, 2 close losses, but certainly they look like they're clicking on, as close to full cylinders as possible. I know Boise State fans a little nervous about this one.
Yeah, I don't think we're playing good in the first couple of games of that season. Now, they played good enough, you're right, to have a chance to win both games at the end, once on defense against Texas A&M and the other on offense, with a chance to drive and win on the road against Miami and a Canes team that looks pretty good right now. So those losses could age well by the end of the season. But I think for Notre Dame fans, the difficulty with the start of this season was, if Notre Dame had gone 0-2 in those games, starting a redshirt freshman quarterback in C.J. Carr, who was getting his first meaningful game action of his career, if Notre Dame had lost those 2 games because, hey, the O-line and the running attack were pounding away and the defense was harassing opposing quarterbacks, and, hey, your redshirt freshman quarterback just made a couple of redshirt freshman mistakes, especially on the road, his first game at Miami, who could fault him? But that wasn't what happened. C.J. Carr has looked pretty strong since that first start. Went down and made some big plays in that Miami game before they kind of just let him operate within the flow of that offense. And the defense, the offensive line, those were both the culprits in game 1 that really seemed to let Notre Dame down. And then in game 2, it was the defense really coming into the crosshairs for a lot of people. Notre Dame remedied the run game problem pretty quickly by just calling more designed rushes for Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, who are 2 of the most talented backs in football. But defensively, Notre Dame underwent a big identity shift this year. Chris Ash takes over as the defensive coordinator for Al Golden, who goes to the Bengals. And this group was young in certain areas, greener in certain areas. You lost playmakers at defensive tackle, linebacker, Xavier Watts, a big-time playmaking safety that's now playing for the Falcons and already has 2 picks on the season for them. And early on, Notre Dame has struggled to replace that playmaking while also trying to find an identity on defense. And, to the Talon Green of it all and to Arkansas, I think that game was twofold, right? Arkansas, that ship was kind of sinking as Notre Dame was getting into town, and I certainly don't want to overweight that win. But, listen, Talon Green was leading the nation in total offense by an individual player. He's a darn good football player, and I think for Notre Dame defensively, they got a little healthier on the back end, which helped. Devonta Smith, who was a transfer from Alabama, a nickel for them, hadn't been available the prior couple of games. So you had true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, all thrust into more game action than maybe they expected, that are now getting their feet under them a little bit as they get healthier there. Hopefully Leonard Moore, Notre Dame's all-world cornerback, is going to be healthy. He's been out the last 2 games with an ankle injury that he suffered, I believe, against Purdue or at the end of Texas A&M, I should say. And so all that's a long-winded way of saying this is a Notre Dame team now where the identity's flipped. Offensively, I think they're as good as any team in college football. They're a complete group. They've got a really strong receiver core they built up over the last year, a tight end that's an NFL guy, and maybe the best running back duo in the sport to go along with a quarterback that I think's got real pro potential that he's flashed early in his career. defensively, I think this year the goal for them is, can they just be an average to above average defense? Last year they were great. At this point, if they can be average to above average, given the fact that I don't know if the 4-man pass rush is going to get there in the ways that they hope for this year, I think this is still a team that's got a lot of their goals out in front of them and attainable.
Well, final thing, and we'll let you go here, and we really appreciate your time. I mean, what would be a recipe for Boise State to hang around in this game? I mean, I think 3 of the last 4 years, Notre Dame's actually lost to like a group of 5, group of 6 team, right? They lost obviously to Northern Illinois last year. I believe Marshall got them at some point recently. There was another one that I saw, I believe, in the year before that. But how does Boise State hang around in this game? I know the spread keeps rising. It's up to 20 points now. And, a lot of reasonable Boise State fans think that's about right. Some think, hey, they almost beat Oregon last year. They hung around with Penn State. Like, give us a little more of a chance here. But you mentioned Jeremiah Love. I mean, Ashton Genty last year for Boise State. Those fans know all about, first-round type running backs and what they can do for a team and how hard they are to stop. But what has Notre Dame done when they have struggled at times? And I know you don't know Boise State's, roster or team, perfectly. You haven't called their game or anything. But what would be a recipe for a Boise State to come into South Bend and have a chance?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one at this point, like take the air out of the football. I know the Boise State passing attack against Notre Dame's back end is kind of the matchup that I would worry about if I'm in South Bend. And I think when you look at what the recipe was for the game against Oregon last year, and certainly, Northern Illinois coming in and beating Notre Dame, it was, hey, your offensive line came in and played a really good game. And up front on both sides of the ball, like I think Boise State up front defensively, I knew Jaden Virgin Morgan from last year. Like that front four gave Oregon fits. And so if you look last year for Northern Illinois, it was Skylar Gill-Howard, who's a defensive tackle at Texas Tech now, and that group came in. They were veteran on both sides of the ball, offensive line and defensive line wise, and Notre Dame was not ready for the kind of consistent pressure that both groups provided. And so I think the O-line and D-line got to play well in this game and get them uncomfortable. CJ Carr has taken risks with the football. He's not afraid to press it in certain areas. And so I think if all of a sudden the turnover takeaways, if those popped up in there, that's always going to be a recipe for success. And then, if you can defensively for Notre Dame take advantage of that back end and some of the free space that is there and keep the chains moving in a way that's possible, I think all those things are going to give you a chance. I mean, Notre Dame's pass rush has not proven to be a consistent down in, down out force. And Maddox Madsen's a good quarterback. So if he's got time back there to go, there's been room against this Notre Dame defense so far this season.
Well, it should be fun. By the way, what's the spot Friday night? We're all looking for the local establishment for Boise State fans to hang out at. I'm not looking, I'm sure there's, I said 5,000 bought the tickets, so I know we all can't fit in one spot. But if I'm trying to get in somewhere and get the Notre Dame flavor around town on Friday night, where do we need to hit up?
So I'd say this: if you're looking for a bite, I always tell people to go to Rocco's. It's like a real old little pizza place, right? Probably a mile down the road from campus, down 23. And then Eddy Street Commons is a pretty easy spot there. It's right next to campus. O'Rourke's is a good spot to have, a beer and a bite. There's some other places there, but if you really want the South Bend experience, the Linebacker is the bar that I think has puke on the ground from when my dad was in college there. It's the one that, you've heard, talked about on College Game Day. It's the real hole-in-the-wall dive experience. It'll be pretty crowded on a Friday night of game week, but they got a good outdoor patio area. It's a good spot to go and get a real sense of, the South Bend nightlife scene. I say that in air quotes as, it's a South Bend nightlife. Maybe not what everyone would think of right away, but the Backer's a good time.
Can we drop your name and cut the line, or?
You know what? I would drop Dad's name. I would throw the senior on that one. That might get you a little farther around South Bend and most circles, quite honestly.
Well, we appreciate your time, man. I know you're a busy man. You got to get ready for your show and stuff, but we appreciate it. Thanks so much for jumping on here in Boise, and should be fun on Saturday. And best of luck with your continued building media career and things yourself.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. There he is, Mike Golic Jr. Good stuff there, Winston. And just hearing the Notre Dame talk just gets. I know people in the chat are saying that it's finally here. Can't believe this is happening. Love this. So excited. I mean, fans are just so excited to be heading to Notre Dame. A lot of fans heading out, as early as today, and some heading out tomorrow.
Yeah, super cool. And awesome to have Mike there. I mean, I think for away games, if you can get a guy like that to, share the top spots to go. And I was fired up hearing the linebacker with
of course
with
you were
with puke on the ground from when Dad played. That sounds like a spot. I'm not too sure. I think there's probably, like Bronco Nation, some friendly fans, but some passionate fans. But I don't know if you want to go in there to the linebacker necessarily with your blue and orange in on Friday, maybe, but sounds like a pretty cool spot. So awesome to have Mike on there.
All right, we're going to get to our next special guest momentarily, but do want to remind folks about the Blue and Orange Store online at theblueandorangestore.com. That new location there at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame, right there by Albertson Stadium. You can get your Boise State gear, and they can make those customized jerseys. Any player on the roster, they can make you a jersey right there in the store, thanks to the NIL rules and things that have changed. So the Blue and Orange Store online at theblueandorangestore.com. Hey, Snake River Pool and Spa Patio and Game. You're looking for a sauna, a spa, whatever you're looking for. Pool table, dartboard, they got you covered. Online, thespateam.com. 4 locations, Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. Check them out, thespateam.com. We appreciate Taco Bell as well. TacoBellWorks.com. That's the website for the SON management group, the Nicolason family. We appreciate them, and they're running Taco Bell stores all over the Northwest, and we appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. Never a better time to head over to Taco Bell, and whether it's lunch, dinner, Johnny proved how great the breakfast was. Love Taco Bell. Appreciate them, and they're donating, I think it's up to $400,000 in endowed scholarships for the men's and women's basketball teams at Boise State. So check them out, and again, get more information at TacoBellWorks.com. And speaking of basketball, Matt Bauscher, number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, is Matt Bauscher, former Bronco basketball player, now doing big things in the real estate world. Just saw yesterday he upped his Lyle Smith investment as well to the athletic department. So we appreciate Matt and his team. Number 1 ranked realtor for a reason. We bought and sold our home using Matt and his team. They did a tremendous job, and we appreciate Matt. And again, online at BauscherRealEstate.com. All right, we go from one esteemed guest to another. We appreciate John Canzano for coming on, the Bald-Faced Truth. And John, I got to be honest, I usually text you, and I'm always looking at your stuff on my phone, so I've been lazy about signing up and all that. But this morning, it's long overdue, so I feel like I owe you back pay. But I did subscribe this morning to the
You're the man.
Your awesome Substack there, John Canzano, the Bald-Faced Truth. So I'm now a paying member, and I was able to read everything in your great story today. And we appreciate you for jumping on and sharing some of your insight today. How we doing?
Well, I work for you now. That's how this works. So let me know what you need me to do, what you need me to cover. But look, having a lot of fun. Obviously, big news day for the Pac-12 last night and into today with the court hearings. And, the Pac-12 has done very well in court. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. But the Mountain West just released a statement, BJ, just a few minutes ago, basically saying, hey, this doesn't speak to the merit of the case. The Northern District Court has obviously denied their motion to dismiss. The court case will move forward. The Mountain West says it's confident in its case, but so does the Pac-12. I expect some settlement discussions at this point.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we wanted to go with you, because a lot of the, Mountain West honks and homers out there saying, oh, this changes nothing. This was expected. Pac-12 people saying, oh, this is huge news for the Pac-12. For folks that are trying to keep up with all this, but not really, reading every lawsuit, every document, I guess, what actually happened yesterday, and what do you think that means?
Well, look, the Mountain West Conference says that the Pac-12 signed this scheduling agreement that includes this poaching penalty clause that would bring $55 million in revenue to the Mountain West, and it used that revenue along with the exit fees for the 5 departing schools to keep UNLV and to keep the other schools in the fold. The problem for the Mountain West is that money is now in jeopardy. That $55 million is in serious jeopardy because the Pac-12 doesn't believe it owes a dime. It says that the poaching penalties were anti-competitive, that they violate antitrust laws, and that the Pac-12 may even, if it gets to this, seek some penalties. And I'll get to that in a minute because there's some recourse for the Pac-12 here if they do win this case. So there's some jeopardy here for the Mountain West in that they don't have that pot of money to give UNLV and the other schools that they once thought they had. So this is a big time win for the Pac-12, but I could see why the Mountain West is spinning it that way. It has to. It still needs to negotiate. It wants to settle this probably. The Pac-12 probably wants to settle as well. But this was an inflection point because now what's going to happen is this case will move to discovery. And if I'm the Mountain West, I do not want the Pac-12's attorneys poking around the email correspondence between Gloria Nevarez and her various presidents, because it may prove that the Mountain West, were they snarky? Were they vindictive? Were they openly talking about, hey, let's institute this poaching penalty clause to keep the Pac-12 from existing? We want them to join us rather than have our schools join them. If all that is out there and the Pac-12 discovers that, the Pac-12 could seek some penalties. It could file additional suits. I've talked to attorneys on both sides, and that is hanging out there. And the penalty in an antitrust case, if you get to that point, is 3 times the damages. So if the Pac-12 can prove that the Mountain West was breaking antitrust laws and that it was charging them an exorbitant fee for those 12 football games, it could seek some additional penalties. And I think there's huge leverage on the Pac-12 side right now. And so for the Mountain West people who are saying, hey, look, this is no big deal, we all expected it to move forward. No, it is a big deal, because if the judge had, taken one of the other 2 avenues that were available to her yesterday, which was, I am going to dismiss this case, or I'm going to dismiss it with prejudice and say, hey, Pac-12, come back and refile it, the Pac-12 loses leverage. And suddenly that settlement discussion is about $55 million. And right now that settlement discussion is about, hey, it could be a 0, and it could be a penalty for the Mountain West. They could put the Mountain West out of business if this goes the wrong way.
Yeah, Winston, I love that. Not only are we not paying you, you now owe us, Mountain West. Send us some cash. I mean, I like the way this might be spinning here, Winston.
Yeah, it seems like there's a ton of money involved. And like I said to you earlier, BJ, not something that I want to be involved with. But John, really appreciate the knowledge and wisdom and expertise you have on it. And you did talking a little bit about some things moving forward and what to expect. And what are some of those things, just to continue to talk about, just key things to be aware of and to watch, as far as I'm thinking more of the timeline and the implications this may have for, these teams trying to go into the Pac-12. Is that stuff at jeopardy if this thing drags out? Would any of these teams trying to go to the Pac-12 not be able to play in 2026? Or how is this affecting the media rights and the TV deals that are going on? And once again, I'm trying to immerse myself into this. And if you could speak on just some of that key things to watch moving forward from a timeline perspective and the implications it would have on it, that'd be great.
Yeah, Winston, thanks for that. Look, first thing is, the football teams are all scheduled to play in 2026. I'm told that the Pac-12 is going to play a conference schedule of 7 games. All the new members are coming in, including Texas State now, and they're looking for 5 non-conference games. And so I think from a football standpoint, I would keep an eye on Conference USA. I would keep an eye on the Sun Belt Conference. I don't expect there to be a partnership, especially given where they are legally with the Mountain West. Nobody wants to get in a partnership right now and have to be entangled. But what I do expect is, I think the Sun Belt and Conference USA and maybe even the American might be interested in clearing their calendar in the month of September and saying, look, let's play some crossover games. Let's allow our schools to play. Because what's happening in the Power 4 right now is the Power 4 schools are saying, hey, we need to play 9 conference games. They're all dropping these group of 5, group of 6 games. And so there's going to be some inventory out there. So I would expect to see, Boise State and San Diego State and Oregon State and Washington State and others pick up non-conference games, maybe in the central time zone. Maybe everybody's just picking up one more game to help, fill out that schedule, at least for 2026. For 2027 and beyond, there is a UNLV question that's still out there. And I think, yesterday's news and today's news about this motion to dismiss sort of dovetails with that. Because if I'm UNLV, I'm sitting back now. I had no appetite for the risk that the others had. I think I belong in the Big 12. But now I'm facing the reality that if the money's not there, the Mountain West Conference also, if it doesn't get the TV deal it expects, how do you survive if you're at UNLV? The Pac-12 starts to look more and more attractive, or maybe even the American looks more and more attractive, but staying put becomes less desirable. But I am told that the 2 attorneys that I consulted with and I wrote about today, and I've got another piece that I'm just about to file on it. But the 2 attorneys I spoke with told me this is going to drag out more than a year. Like, this is not good for the Mountain West because they have to make a July 1, 2026 payment. It's supposed to be $61 million based on the original expectation of $55 million from the Pac-12 and then maybe as much as $95 million from the departing schools. Right now, they've got nothing. And so they have nothing to offer. If they don't make that payment, there is some legal recourse that the schools that are being left behind in the Mountain West can take. They can sue the Mountain West saying you breached the contract. They could unwind the new grant of rights and go back to the old grant of rights, which would allow them to exit. So could UNLV or some others, could Air Force and UNLV be on the move in 2026 or 2027? That certainly opens the door for it. But none of this is good for Gloria Nevarez in her conference. Like in the discovery piece of this is interesting. And anybody who knows these conferences, they've all got unfortunate emails floating around, right? Like nobody wants discovery. So it's kind of why I think we're going to end up in a situation right now where these two sides come together and the Mountain West goes, look, we don't want to be on the hook for potential penalties down the line. Can you make a good faith offer to us? And then it pivots to the departing schools, which is this whole other negotiation, right? The Mountain West, I'm told in the negotiations with Boise State and the departing schools, the Mountain West never went below $18 million per school. That was their best offer. Now, the departing schools found that unpalatable. Like they were willing to go to 8 million, maybe 10 million. They are an ocean apart on this number. And so I kind of wonder if this motion to dismiss and the turmoil in the Mountain West ecosystem causes the Mountain West to come back to the table in a more reasonable way there, because they have no other money. They need to come up with that money by July 1 of 2026. And if they don't, they're going to end up in ongoing lawsuits with these departing schools and no money to pay the bills.
All right. So many questions, so little time here. John Canzano, again, you can listen to him on the radio. We'll ask him at the end here to tell us where that is. The Bald Faced Truth, substack.com/ at John Canzano. You can purchase and great columns. He's been the forefront of all of this stuff from the start. But John, I guess quickly, if UNLV could get out of their deal, would the Pac-12 take them?
I think so. I think the Pac-12 would jump at it. I think, look, there's some bad feelings. I've talked to all the ADs of the incoming schools. I obviously talked with Oregon State and Washington State a ton. I think they wanted UNLV in the beginning. And I think the American wants Air Force. They want to put Air Force alongside Army and say, hey, we are the conference we're the American, right? So I think, Air Force and UNLV are the two targets that would be interesting. I think there's a lot of frustration with UNLV. There's questions about the leadership at UNLV. I talked to key stakeholders at UNLV, and like everybody else, they're delusional. Like they think they're getting to the Big 12. They're not getting to the Big 12 any sooner than Oregon State or Washington State or Boise State. So, the question becomes, are you better positioned in the Mountain West? Or are you better positioned in the Pac-12? And I think if there's no money there, I could see UNLV opening a conversation at some point with the Pac-12. I'm told this has not happened. You're seeing a bunch of smoke out there about UNLV's open. I'm told that there's nothing to that there has not been meaningful conversation between the sides. But this is the kind of thing that causes people to pick up the phone. And I think if you're a UNLV, you have to be a little nervous that the Mountain West might not have the money.
Now, so what happens? You mentioned the timing on this, next July, and they don't have the payment. But I mean, if why would the Pac-12 not just see this thing through trial if they think they're got a chance at this? And I guess more importantly, if they know that if they don't have the money, if they don't pay them by that date to pay them, why would they not drag this thing out as long as possible and try to get past that deadline if they know that that would really screw over the Mountain West?
That you're hitting right on the inflection point, because for people who are saying this ruling yesterday meant nothing, the Pac-12 is holding the cards now, and the Pac-12 can sit and go, no, we want you to pay our legal fees. We're not paying anything. And you pay a penalty on top of it. And that's not going to be palatable to the Mountain West. The Pac-12 can sit. The Pac-12 can go to trial. The Pac-12 can now say, hey, we want discovery. Let's see what Gloria, the commissioner, was sending to her presidents. Was she talking openly about being anti-competitive and saying we want to block them? We want them to join us. Like if she's saying that as she's negotiating this deal, there's a potential liability there for the conference. So yes, it's, the Mountain West now has to come to the Pac-12, I think, hat in hand. It's not a comfortable place. But if you're Gloria, I think you have to be worried right now that you don't have a deal with the departing schools yet. That will be settled at some point. You don't have this $55 million you were banking on. And so, you just have kind of the idea, like as I called around, I had another conference commissioner who reached out to me and said, this is very bad for the Mountain West.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm fascinated by this, and it's funny because a lot of like the UNLV reporters and stuff, and some of these people that are staying are trying to hype up the Mountain West, and other people are trying to hype up the Pac, and so they're looking at these legal documents with colored goggles on the side that their school is on, and I'm sure in a way we're kind of doing that the same way here in Boise, just not even trying, but it's very interesting what's going to happen here moving forward. What is literally the next step that's going to happen here?
Well, there's some court dates that are set for November, but I think what's going to happen is I think there's going to be some settlement talks. This is the kind of thing that sparks it. All the attorneys I talked with expect that this will be settled. This will not go to trial, but the threat of trial and the threat of potential damages are out there. And to the point, like let's look at this objectively. Like I don't think anybody wants the Mountain West to die. Like I don't think the Pac-12 schools that are even departing are looking back going, we hope that conference is, let's blow the bridge up behind us. I think, though, the ecosystem, this is the trickle-down effect, and we're getting down the food chain. And then what happens next? The Mountain West turns and goes after the Big Sky schools, Montana State, and then there's a lawsuit there. I mean, this really starts with Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. It starts with the Big Ten taking Oregon and Washington. It starts with Fox and ESPN being, in the middle of it. It's, for people to look at the Mountain West and Pac-12 fighting, and it's like the kids are fighting in the back seat. Let's be real about this. Like, the grown-ups in Power 4, they're trying to run away with it all. And it's unfortunate that it's come to this. It shouldn't. There should be enough for everybody. But I don't blame the schools that are saying, hey, we want to depart. We shouldn't be subsidizing the bottom tier of our conference. And that's really what the 5 departing schools in the Mountain West are saying. They're going, hey, we're tired of subsidizing. And that's what Oregon and Washington said, and USC and UCLA. We're tired of subsidizing. And that's just the consolidation that's going on right now.
Where's the Pac-12 championship game going to be?
I think Las Vegas. I think, they have not negotiated it, but I think they want to be in Vegas. Look, they're trying to position themselves as the number 5 conference. You want to be in Vegas, or maybe as a fallback, you're at SoFi Stadium in LA. But I think if you're Teresa Gold, you want your basketball tournament, you want your football championship in Vegas, you want BJ Raines at the blackjack table, doubling down, splitting eights. That's what you want.
Yes, it's Circa. We love Circa. We love Vegas. We love Vegas. They haven't even announced it. Have they announced the basketball tournament's going to be in Vegas too? Or
no, but I am told this is a topic of discussion, and everybody, I think they don't want to say out now that they're going to Vegas because nothing's been finalized. And of course, they want to, they'd like to be in the best venue they can. There's a variety of venues there, and some of them aren't great. Like, you've been in some of those gyms. You want to be at T-Mobile Arena. You want to be at Michelob Arena over at Mandalay Bay. You want to be at MGM, at that arena. You don't want to be over at Orleans. You don't want to be, down the street. Stay on the strip, BJ. That's what I'm saying. Stay on the strip.
Well, for those of us that love Circa, Fremont Street's, it's a fun time too. But so is it for sure going to be neutral site though for football?
Yeah, I believe look, as a fallback, they could always say, hey, for 1 year in 2026, we would do it at the top team gets to host. But I think they want to be in Vegas. I think they want the perception that they're big time, that they're with the Power 4. And I that's what I would do. I would be like, hey, let's do everything that a Power 4 conference would do, because what they're going to do here in 2027 is they're going to go back to the CFP in that negotiating window. And Teresa Gold's going to try to make the case. Hey, look, our distributions need to come up. Now, I've talked with both Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti, about the CFP, and I think they're going to get some pushback there because the other conferences have some ideas about what they want in 2027. But I think Teresa Gold is going to make the case that Boise State and all these incoming schools that are getting a fractional share, hey, they've participated, and they should get more. And so I think they're going to want to be perceived as the number 5 conference in the country.
I keep coming up with more questions. I know I got to let you go, but the basketball side of this, are there any more basketball membership? I guess. What's next for the membership? What schools are out there? I'm not a huge proponent of St. Mary's. I feel like once Randy Bennett leaves, it's going to be hard to sustain what they're doing there. So I don't know if I would love that. But as a basketball only member, but what's next in terms of football or basketball on the membership side?
Yeah, I think this ruling yesterday kind of gives a little bit of pause to the Pac-12, but they need a basketball member. They need to get to 10. That's what everybody wants. All the ADs want 10. They want to play a nice balanced schedule. It keeps them from having to buy games and non-conference play. And so I do think there will be a basketball edition. It could be a basketball only. it could be that they go to St. Mary's and go, look, we're going to let you in, and it's a 5-year deal, and then there's a potential for a renegotiation there. This isn't a forever thing. It could be something like that. But, I've talked to the president at St. Mary's, Roger Thompson. They're trying to expand their home arena. They're trying to look more like a Pac-12 campus. They have a baseball program that would be attractive to the baseball schools. But right now they're sitting in a holding pattern, and they've been told, hey, when we get to basketball, we'll talk to you. But there may be a question out there. If you can get UNLV or you can get Memphis or somebody else, or if UConn breaks free and you can grab UConn, there may be a different conversation. But I think if St. Mary's were a no-brainer, guys, they would already be in. And so I think that's why the Pac-12 has kind of got him on a holding pattern.
Okay, Notre Dame, last question.
Yeah.
You back in the 90s, I didn't realize this, actually covered Notre Dame as a beat writer. So for fans going to South Bend, Ryan, by the way, says, I've been to the linebacker, great spot. Also Corby's, it's the bar featured in Rudy. That's a spot folks should hit up as well. But just Boise State going to play Notre Dame, big opportunity for them, for this fan base, for this program. What's your take on this matchup? But I guess just for fans going to South Bend, pretty cool trip as well.
Yeah, it's cool. And I grew up in California. So I grew up in the Bay Area in California. And my idea of the Notre Dame fan was sort of the affluent 49er fan who was tailgating at Candlestick Park was also a Notre Dame fan. It was a cool thing to be. And when I got to cover Notre Dame, the big surprise to me was when you get out to South Bend, it's beautiful. It's going to be beautiful when they roll in on the bus. Touchdown Jesus will be hovering above the stadium. It's striking, and it's a cool scene to see. And it is a little intoxicating for fans. But what you notice right away is that the fan base is very blue collar. It is Rudy Rudiger. It is beanie caps, and it's gloves with the fingers cut off. And it's, it's a blue collar crowd. And it really surprised me when I got there because I thought, this was going to be more hoity toity, and it wasn't. But look, Notre Dame is in need of a big time win. They don't have a quality win left on the schedule. You look at their schedule and you look at who they've got left to play, there's a lot of speculation that they're going to be posturing. So, I kind of wonder if they go into this game thinking they don't just need to beat Boise State. They need to do to Boise State what South Florida did. And I think that's a really interesting dynamic for a Marcus Freeman team that, hasn't looked all that great. And so I think there's a huge opportunity for Jeremiah Dickey and his athletic department, Spencer Danielson, Boise State fans, huge opportunity to showcase against a vulnerable Notre Dame team that I think they can play with on the road. So, a big opportunity, of course. But, yeah, if you're going out to this game, walk around the tailgate, meet the fans. They're like every other fan base in the Midwest. They want to show you how great their school is and how wonderful it is. But, South Bend's a special place.
Well, we appreciate you for jumping on, John. I guess since I did subscribe today, I don't feel quite as bad keeping it 20 minutes. But
thank you, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Happy to return the favor anytime on your show. We always appreciate your insight, and hopefully we can do it again soon.
Thanks, guys.
John, by the way, what's your Twitter? What's the radio situation? Where can folks catch all your work, your stuff?
Just go to johncanzano.com. You find it all there. I'm on the radio too much here, 15 hours a week, 3 to 6 p.m. But you can grab the podcast. You know how to find a podcast. But just go to johncanzano.com. You'll find me.
JohnCanzano.com. Easy enough. Canzano is Canzano.
There you go.
John, appreciate you as always, man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks.
All right, there he is, John Canzano. Great stuff there, Winston. I know we're short on time, but that Pac-12 lawsuit, man, is going to be very interesting to follow here.
Yeah, I got to get more wrapped around it. I continue to hear the financial impact, whether it's settlement, but when, John just brought up, 18 million, and it's just, in this world of generating revenue and how that is just the number one thing athletic departments are doing right now and trying to do in the world of NIL. It just scares me what that looks like when you are not generating, but you are coughing up a big check in the middle of that. I know that that's a part of it anyways. You got to spend money to make money, but man, there's a lot going on in college athletics. Definitely a lot going on in the Mountain West and the Pac-12. And it'll be really interesting to see how this stuff shakes out. I think it's still all about generating revenue, whether you're getting donors to help out with that type of money that you may have to cough up, or you're getting real creative. But the job remains the same. No matter what situation you're in, there's going to be some checks to be paid, whether it's legal fees or whatnot. And not a great situation for some of these universities and conferences to be in, to be honest.
All right, Winston, final thing for you, and I appreciate your time today. What just final thoughts? Notre Dame, Saturday, huge opportunity for this program. A lot of fans getting ready to fly out there. I mean, there's been some cool kind of stepping stone moments, pinch me moments over the last 30 years for this program, and I'm sure for the 5,000 plus fans, for the what going in person, for those, heck, just flipping on NBC at 1:30 for the afternoon game and seeing the panorama shot of Notre Dame Stadium and Boise State's logo next to Notre Dame. Obviously you want to keep it close, try to win the game, be competitive, but I mean, regardless of the score, this is going to be a monumental weekend and day and another cool moment for this program. Your final thoughts on the matchup, man?
Yeah, I think John made it, a point to mention it just a second ago, and I think statement, right? Statement wins. I don't, whether that's Boise State, I think they have an opportunity to make a statement win, and this would be a big time win for the program. BJ, I'm a Bronco. I'm passionate. I bleed blue to the core, and great experience, but it's all about winning that game. This is an opportunity to have a piece of history and to make that statement and to go out there and continue to build the confidence. Obviously, winning the conference is the most important and the standard at Boise State, but to look back years and years and years from now, when you go to a place like South Bend and go to some of the places that we have been to as a program and get that Boise State win, that's what this place is all about. It's not just about showing up. It's about freaking winning these games. So that is the standard at Boise State, and that's me as the big brother and Bronco to my core. Great experience, but put your game face on and go get the job done. That's what's really going to be memorable. It's not just about making that trip and seeing touchdown Jesus. It's about getting that W.
And do you want to put your former teammate on blast that scheduled his wedding right during the game?
Hey, Tyler Shoemaker, the Shoe Crew, man. I'm super happy for my boy Tyler Shoemaker getting married this weekend. Man, that's one of my best friends. Shout out to Tyler. He's got a great gal. So he did let the crew know that he's going to have a nice little TV setup while we get prepared for the wedding. So we'll be able to check it out, and we'll stay clued in for sure. He's got that dialed in. So yeah, once again, man, super happy for my guy Shoe. It's going to be a great opportunity, great game, man.
They win that game, that could be the most epic wedding reception of all time.
Just might not end, we'll be ready for when the boys come back on the plane. We'll be hanging out in the parking lot waiting for them.
That's awesome, man. Hey, really appreciate your time, man. I know it was a longer show today, but a great show, some good insight, and appreciate you as always for joining us, Winston. And we'll talk to you again real soon, man.
All right, take care, BJ. Appreciate it, man.
There he is, Winston Venable. Appreciate him for jumping on again today. Hey, want to thank Ridley's Family Markets. ShopRidleys.com. They got locations around the Treasure Valley, State of Idaho, other spots. Download that Skip app. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line. ShopRidleys.com. Transportation Compliance Service, TransCompService.com, and get into the trucking industry. Local company helping out folks all over the world. DOT, overweight, all those great permits and things. Check them out, transcompservice.com. And we want to hear from you. Leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/BNN. Give us a score prediction, your thoughts on the game, anything you like, don't like with BNN, whatever you got. Signature Roofing. Again, speakpipe.com/BNN. Signature Roofing is covering our community for more than 2 decades. Whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection, they got you covered online at mysignatureroofing.com. 50% off this week. Let's try to get 20 new subscribers. Help us out if you can. I've got $150 in gift cards to the Janes right now. If we can get 20 new subscribers, I'll put 3 of them up for the new subscribers, and I'll put 3 of them up for everybody else that's already subscribed. Let's get some new subscribers. $5 a month is all it costs. Help us out here. They did this 50% deal, so let's return the favor and get them some subscribers. If you're on the fence about whether or not to subscribe, now's the time. All kinds of exclusive content coming. We had 7 stories posted yesterday. I already got 2 ready to post today after the show. We're churning out content left and right, so hopefully you'll consider it. $5 a month. BroncoNationNews.com is the website, and hopefully you enjoyed today's show. Maybe it fires you up for the game on Saturday and said, you know what, I'm going to go support those guys. $5 a month. BroncoNationNews.com. Subscribe today. We really appreciate those that already have, and we hope that you will, because we have a lot of great content and shows and things. Tonight, tonight, 8 o'clock, will be the Ball Talk show. Sanford and Johnny, and I'm in a good mood, so I'm going to make that show free of charge for everybody to watch tonight. 8 o'clock tonight, Ball Talk. We kind of alternate free subscription. I kind of see how I'm feeling that day, but if we can get some new subscribers today, which I think we will, and I appreciate you guys, we will make that show free of charge tonight for everybody to watch on YouTube, and hopefully that'll be another reason you'll see the show and then decide that you want to jump on board and subscribe. So appreciate all you guys that watch the show today. Thanks to Mike Golic Jr., thanks to John Canzano, thanks to Winston Venable. The next couple days, we'll kind of really dive more into the matchup of this game and things. We got Johnny Ballgame on tomorrow. We'll have Mike Prater on Friday, and looking forward to that. But, yeah, the linebacker, may need to check that spot out, and also Corby's, and see if I don't know about you guys, but I may have to rewatch Rudy this week and maybe get my kids to watch it tonight or something as well, and get a little feel for it before heading off for the game tomorrow night. But again, appreciate all you guys for watching us. Please go subscribe if you can. Watch Ball Talk tonight at 8 o'clock. If you missed the Riley and Ridge show from last night, great stuff with Ben Ford and Max Cutforth. Go back and watch that on the Bronco Nation News YouTube channel. Great stuff last night. So you can do that on the Bronco Nation News YouTube channel, and you can join us every Tuesday at 8 o'clock at the James, and that's courtesy of Jackson's. And as I said, tonight, 8 o'clock, Mike Sanford, Johnny Ballgame, talking Notre Dame, getting you set for tonight's game, going to be our Saturday's game, going to be a great show. Make plans to watch it live tonight at 8 o'clock on the Bronco Nation News YouTube channel. And if you are unable to watch it live, you can, of course, watch it tomorrow or later tonight or whenever on the YouTube channel, BroncoNationNews.com. Sanford, Johnny, we got Winston, we got Riley. Like I said earlier in the show, we had 11 people that I paid today on the payroll. So Bronco Nation News, 11 people I'm shelling out money to try to give you guys the best content we can, whether it's written, whether it's video, whether it's graphics, whether it's technical behind the scenes stuff. This was the largest monthly payroll we've ever had at Bronco Nation News. So we're trying to up our investment to improve the products and get you morning shows, evening shows, pregame shows, postgame shows, coverage from the games. And we're going to be at Basketball Media Days in a couple weeks. We're sending down Nathan Carroll, and we're sending down our intern, Kanan Rogers, to help with some of the production behind the scenes so we can give you a great live broadcast. So we're upping our investment. Like I said, if you can return the favor and subscribe, we really would appreciate it. BroncoNationNews.com, $5 a month with our 50% off deal right now. So that'll allow you to read Mike Prater's column that he posted yesterday on the scheduling, the 2 recruits that Boise State just got. You can do that, and read Chris Van Sickle's VIP article talking to the recruits and getting their thoughts on committing to Boise State. We always put our breaking news and tidbits in the VIP message boards as well before we get going. So appreciate you guys for the kind words. It was a fun show. And again, appreciate all you guys that already have subscribed. And if you can't subscribe to help us out, this is the perfect week ahead of a cool road trip and a cool game at Notre Dame on Saturday. So have a great rest of your day. We'll see you at 8 o'clock tonight for Ball Talk with Johnny and Sanford. We'll see you in the message boards over at BroncoNationNews.com all day. We're going to go talk to some Boise State players, Amarion McCoy, and I forget the other player we're going to talk to today, but we will get those videos posted to the YouTube channel this afternoon. We got a couple different stories coming today. We got a basketball preview just got posted. We're doing 10 questions facing the basketball team. Nathan Carroll just posted his first column, what to expect from the transfers. And you can subscribe and read that at BroncoNationNews.com. So go subscribe. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you in the message boards, and we'll see you tonight, 8 o'clock, and then we'll see you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Bronco Nation News Live, courtesy of our title sponsor, rowpaint.com, all of our great sponsors at BroncoNationNews.com. Take care, everybody.
Bronco Nation will not score, Jackson pours. Each game I score a touchdown, head to Jackson's on Monday for a 49-cent fountain drink with Let's Go rewards. And don't forget your free banana, Jackson's. Let's go.
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.